think she wants a little more, so I'll give her. Yeah, there you go. It's cool now. I want to show a recipe that I'm doing for Makana's Meatloaf. This is ground turkey. And then the place that I went to, which was Fresh Fields Farm, didn't have ground chicken. So I bought some chicken pieces, and I'm going to ground that up in the food processor with some chicken livers, because those are supposed to be good, and that's a new thing that I'm doing. I cooked brown rice, and I put 2 cups in here, and this has probably about 3 pounds of ground turkey. I think this is ground turkey. And then I took celery, carrots, green apples. I took the seeds out. I left the skin on. I added a sweet potato, and I put it in the food processor, and it's all down here. So so that there wouldn't be big chunks. Let's see if that will focus. This is celery, green beans. So I took fresh green beans, put that in the food processor. I peeled the sweet potato. You can see the skins there. And some people leave it on, but I took it off because it's not organic. And then I also put in 1 cup of quick barley oats. So these are the whole oats that you see, or you can put any type of oats. Hopefully that will help also absorb some of the oils that come out of the turkey and the chicken and the liver. If you use ground beef, a lot of oil comes out of that, so I'm not using ground beef, and chicken and turkey are usually better. And then I'm going to mix this all up. So I'm probably going to mix this one up because this is, my container's pretty big. And I'm probably doing, I didn't really measure that much. I put 1 sweet potato, the carrots are really skinny, so I used maybe about, I think 8 of those. I would say half vegetables. Makana's supposed to be on a diet because she's kind of hiding behind there. Everybody says she needs to lose weight, but mainly she's on this diet because she was having liver failure. And so she's taking milk thistle, and she takes 1/16 of a teaspoon twice a day with roughly, I would say half a cup every day, every meal, twice a day. So I'm going to mix this up, and I'm also going to, this is really loud, so I won't play it, won't videotape that, but I'm going to ground this so that it's smaller pieces, so it looks more like the ground turkey, and then I'll mix it up and I'll be back. So this is what I'm going to do when I put the pieces in there and pulse it. Don't know if you can see that, but basically it's taking all the small pieces and making a big mush, which is kind of gross. But since she has a liver issue, I mean, even if your dog doesn't have a liver issue, people will either do liver or heart or some type of organ meat and put it into the mixture. That's really gross. And then I will mix that up and make little balls. I'm going to also put eggs. That helps add a protein. I saw one guy just blend the eggs in a blender so that they can get the calcium off the eggs. I'm going to get a scooper, a spatula, and get that stuff out and then mix it up, because I just had my nails done and that's going to be kind of gross. I'll be back. I noticed that once I mixed in the chicken liver with the other part of the chicken, along with all the other ingredients I put in, which I'll put in the link, I'll put it below, that it was moister than what I was expecting. I had already done this recipe for Makana's Meatloaf 2 or 3 other times, but this is the first time I'm using chicken liver, and that's really moist. It blended up really well in the food processor. So I'm adding in 1 more cup of barley and a little extra. And actually, if you use the 11-ounce quick barley, or you could add more rice, or you could add bread, whatever, you can always substitute. But this barley is a little more nutritious for them, for dogs. So I'm going to add the rest of the box in, the whole 11-ounce box, and that'll help try to absorb any extra oils. and moisture that might come on. But I also am going to add eggs. And I saw that somebody do this before, where instead of just cracking the eggs in, which is what I did the last couple of times, I'm going to put in the Vitamix 6 eggs. I saw one person add 12, but they used more meat. And so I'm going to add 6 eggs, which is going to add more liquid. And if it's too moist of what I want, then I'll probably add some more brown rice. So I'm kind of playing with this recipe, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm sure Makana will love any of it. Okay, plugged in. It's plugged in. It's on, and here we go. I want to make sure all those little the good about the brown eggs is that brown eggs, you can actually see the little speckles of the eggs, versus white eggs probably would get caught in it. So I'm going to take this off. And it looks perfect inside. And add all of that. And that will add calcium now to her mix. Oh, there's the egg pieces. So I'm going to scoop all of that out. You can see it go all the way back there. That's all the eggs. I'm going to scoop that out, mix it up, and then I'll be making kind of meatballs in muffin pans, because I find that that's the easiest way to do it for serving. So I added 2 more cups of brown rice because it is moister than what I wanted. And basically, if you've ever made meatloaf, you want it to be able to form into a ball, which is how I'm going to make her little cupcake muffin pans. And so I'm going to use pans like this. I'm going to spray it with some non-stick spray. Makana is 12 pounds. Say hi. So Makana is 12 pounds, and she's supposed to be like some bogus 5 pounds, which her sister Nala wasn't even 5. Well, she was like half or a third of Makana's size. And so on one of the, I'll show you this scale up here from the vet's office says that Makana is serious risk and severe risk. She's right over here in severe risk for obesity. I don't know if you can see that. So according to this chart up here, Makana, well, this was when she was 13. She's now 14 years old, and her ideal weight, the vet said first was 5 pounds according to the to this computer program, but she changed it to 8. Her body fat index is 45%, and her current weight is still 12 pounds. So I'm going to spray all the muffin pans with set the oven to 350, and because it has chicken and turkey, and because it's going to be smaller, it shouldn't take more than 35 minutes or so to bake inside the muffin size pans. But you should have a meat thermometer. So poultry should be 165 degrees. So what you do is when the 30 minutes or 35 minutes is up, you poke it inside. Make sure you don't touch the bottom of the pan. Poke it inside, and the center should be roughly 165 degrees. I do rotate it halfway through, so I let it cook for about 15 minutes, and then I take the pans. If the pans are sitting like this in the oven, I'll take it and turn it around. And just in case I have an uneven spot in my oven. And then, just because this is the only, I only have 3 muffin pans. I also have these cake pans, and I'll form little loaves, and I'll show you that in a bit. Here's a 1/3 scoop. Let's see how the 1/3 scoop is, because right now the half cup looks like too much. So let's see this. Yeah, that's probably better. So let me do the 1/3. You know, I've done this. I kind of just do it by sight. And I thought I'd make a recording of this because some people asked about what am I feeding Makana. Makana's, there's a level of her liver I don't know if it was an enzyme or whatever it was like 1,000. And it's supposed to be like 100. And she was actually in liver failure about 5 or 6 weeks ago. The doctor wanted to keep her in the animal hospital, and he said she was really sick. She needed IV hydration. I really didn't have the finances to do anything drastic for her. They wanted to do a CAT scan, which would have cost, or I don't know, $1,000 something or $2,000. It was just kind of crazy, and I was just panicking because we lost our other 2 dogs in the last couple of years. 2 of them within a year's time. One was Nala, which was Makana's sister, and she was 14, so we were thinking, okay, she was older, but we weren't really sure what was happening. She was sort of stumbling, and then she would get better. And the day I was going to take her to the vet, she actually died in my arms early that morning. It was just less than, I think about a year later, Callie, our golden retriever, they found a lump on her, and the vet was suspicious that it was some type of cancer, so they wanted to biopsy it, and then she also was never fixed because we were going to breed her. So during that surgery, she actually bled internally and died during that surgery. So now we're at Makana, who is 14 years old, and right now we're not in the position to get another pet or another dog, and so I didn't want to lose her. I didn't know what else to do. We tried to do what we could in the vet's office, and she got the IV hydration. We did test her, got her labs done. They said her liver was failing, and they said all we could do is hope for the best. They were okay with me taking her home, and he said the problem was that she also wasn't eating, and she wasn't drinking, and Makana loves to eat, but she wouldn't take any water, so she was dehydrated. So because of that, they gave her the IV hydration. And liver failure has different symptoms. Makana actually was having all of it, where she was throwing up, not eating, lethargic, falling down, a bunch of things, and it happened relatively quickly, within a day or so, and I took her to the vet the next day. Well, actually, I think it was the same day that she was throwing up and stopped eating. Okay, now you can see that I'm making a loaf pan because I ran out of space. This might be still too high. I ran out of little muffin pans. Also, make sure you turn on your oven so that it'll be hot. My oven is now ready for me. But I usually make 2 small loaves like this in each pan, just so that it cooks a little faster. I'm going to show you what I do to turn Makana's meatloaf around. Also to look at the liquid. Hopefully you can see hot. So you can see how the liquid is coming off, and it's right over there. Okay, so here's the pan, and what I do is I just tilt it like this, and I don't know if you can see that, but some of that liquid is rolling off. So usually I have hot water running, but just so that you can hear the sound. Can you see some of that liquid? You just want the liquid or that oil stuff to come out, so that it doesn't overflow in your oven and mess up the bottom of your oven. Then you'll end up having to scrub off baked oil from the bottom of your oven. This is the front part, so I'm going to flip it around, put my other oven mitt back on, and flip it around that way. This one goes back in the oven for another 15 minutes, and then I will use the meat thermometer. Okay, so the timer's going off for 30 minutes. I actually left it in for about 5 more minutes because I have the oven open for some time. So I'm going to take this meat thermometer, and I'm going to press it just slightly in the middle and watch that thing rise. See it going. So it went past 160. So that means to me, all of the meatballs are done. And you can always take it on another one. Let's see if we can, let's take it right next here so you can see it. And it's actually going above 180. So it's overcooked. Or it's cooked, but you can't tell it's overcooked. It's not burned. Plant it, not all the way down, but at least halfway through. And then watch to see how it grows. And it's going 140. It's making its way to 160, and it hit 160. So this is cooked through. Just taking out these pieces. So even though this meatloaf was moister than what I had initially expected, there's probably a lot of the fat from the liver, chicken or turkey, most likely the liver. I don't know how much oil is in there. These are not low-fat little things, that's for sure, except that I use turkey and chicken, a very lean, turkey is very lean, and the chicken, it was lean. Have lots of vegetables, some apple in there, and I'll wait till the other stuff cools off. But you see this little piece here, something that falls off like this. This is really hot right now. When it cools off a little bit more, somebody's already looking at it. See somebody? That's Makana. So Makana's wondering, like, is that my meatloaf? Is it dinner yet? She usually eats breakfast at 8 a.m. and then dinner at 6 p.m. and she actually knows what time it is. I don't know how, she just does. Although, when we deal with time zone change, because Makana was born in Hawaii, we don't have time zone change. She does get ticked off if she gets a delay in her meal. So here's another little piece. Oops. So these pieces that fall down, if they're a little cool to the touch, I'll give it to her. I don't want to give it to it too hot. Okay, so if I hold it in my hand, she'll eat it. It's all hot, Makana. I also don't put ketchup like you would on meatloaf. I try not to use anything that's processed. Everything is fresh and processed in the food processor. Yep, and she was happy. So there you go. That's Makana's meatloaf, and I don't think I need to show you how I wrap it. I could, and let me just show you the frozen part. So this is what the Makana's little meatloaf looks like. I take a piece of saran wrap or wax paper. I have a hard time finding wax paper. I get 2 of the meatballs, put them together, and then I wrap it up like this. So this is enough for 3 days for her. Of course, if you have a larger dog, you want to figure out how many cups your dog needs and how active your dog is. Some people don't, they're not that active. Yeah. So even when we go walking, she's not that active. But I'll make up all of it. I'll put it like this, and then I'll put it in a Ziploc bag, put it in the freezer. And like I said, this is probably good for about, this amount is probably good for about 3 weeks or a little less. See, where'd that meat? Oh, that's that one. I thought, there's no way she could have stole that, right? Yeah, I think she wants a little more, so I'll give her. Yeah, there you go. It's cool now. All right, so hope your doggies enjoy it as much as Makana does. That's Makana's meatloaf, or Makana's meatballs. Bye. Say bye, Makana. See ya.